We are live again here in Pittsburgh for Netroots Nation. And of course, it's Thursday. So it's actually a Thursday Coast Live, folks. It's actually, and in person. That's the other thing. When's the last time we went to doing something together in person?
New York. It was Sirius XM days.
Probably, yeah.
It was in those studios.
And we have not been together at Netroots Nation since Detroit. Or was it? What was after Detroit? Was Detroit the last one? No. What was the last one? I can't remember.
Philly was the last real one.
Philly.
Yeah.
They was Philly. We were there. Philly. It was in Philly. Okay, I'm thinking
that was 3 years ago.
Wow, amazing. How are you, man? Congratulations, Marcos, Melissas. Congratulations. First of all, 20th anniversary of Daily Coast.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
Old. So I was at the first 2006. 2007. 2006 was the first yearly Coast, which became Netroots Nation.
Okay.
I had my son. I went up to speak, and I had my son on my shoulder.
Right.
And he started screaming and crying. Right. He was 3. He was about 2 years old. Yeah, 2 years old. And right now, my son is going to Ranger School at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Unbelievable.
19 years old, and it just, I don't understand. So when you say 20 years, how does it feel? It feels surreal.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel that long.
No, I mean, you feel the same as you felt then, don't you?
Yeah, nothing's changed.
But on paper,
we're
we're getting old, and we don't realize what's happening to us. But in the blink of an eye,
right?
In the blink of an eye.
Your son's playing baseball. Mine's rucking in the swamps of Georgia.
Now, no, that's right. This was yearly Coast. What year did it change over to Netroots?
It was about 4 or 5 years. So
okay.
Probably I don't know offhand, but it was about maybe 2011 or so. It felt weird to me. Like, I'm not a good brander, right?
Okay.
Any smart branding person would have loved to have an entire conference named after them. That's just not my style.
Okay.
For better or for worse.
And because it was there, but then when it became Netroots, it kind of became its own thing.
It had already been, And the thing is, what people still don't understand, it was always its own thing. Mm-hmm. It was just founded and organized by members of the Daily Coast community. And we gave them a grant in those early days, but I didn't have a lot of money. I mean, this was 2006. I didn't like it was like a handful of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. It's just to give volunteers some tools to be able to do something.
Right.
So it really was this community build, funded. Now I give them a platform, right? But that's right. Okay. I mean, people want to give too much credit for that. It was always sort of self-directed, and it was always like the passion of people that want to connect and work towards a better America. I mean, it's always been this beautiful thing, and I'm just been lucky that it happened to find a home at Daily Coast in those early years. And
folks, that's important. There are panels here, as some of you may have been looking at online and may be aware of. But I think, as I'm looking at the agenda, there are more workshops and trainings than just panels. I mean, that's the other thing about, that's the thing. This is resource building, information gathering and sharing, is educational. This is about folks leaving here with some tools.
Yeah, it's great to hear people talk about the issues you care about. Blah, blah. Yeah, a lot of the real nuts and bolts here are nuts and bolts. It's how to organize, how to get people registered to vote. It's how to use the tools of digital organizing in this era. So a lot of it is actually very technical.
Yeah,
I mean, this is how to win in a modern electoral battlefield.
Yeah.
How's
it? And so as always, we checking with you. How we looking? You feel any better since last time we talked?
Oh my God, I feel so much better since we just talked last.
He was coming early, folks, and he had to leave to go to the hotel. He had to gather his emotions because of what happened to Wesselberg. I thought about you. I know you were in the morning about him going to Rikers Island.
Oh really?
That's where he's going.
Oh my God, I love the circus.
15 felonies.
What?
15. I mean, that's I mean, most, even real big time criminals, you get 2, 3, 4 felonies.
Yeah.
15 felonies.
But only 6 months or something?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a lot of felonies.
I mean, it's a lot of felonies.
And Rikers for a 70-something-year-old man is not, So
good. Maybe he'll go there and in a month. He'll be like, you know what? Never mind. I'll testify against Donald.
For us, it'd be 6 months. 6 months in Rikers for him probably feel like 10 years.
I don't even want to go there to visit somebody. So, yeah. But no, electorally, I mean, we've had a rash of new Senate polls come out. Things are looking shockingly good. We're even seeing some House polls stream out, and the climate is not what Republicans thought it was going to be.
Right.
It's what I had been telling you might happen. I always couch it because you never know. I mean, I don't read the future, but I thought Dobbs, the elimination of Roe v. Wade, and I thought Donald Trump would both become real factors and negate the midterm curse for the party in power, and that's exactly what's happening. So we are looking really good right now to win Wisconsin and Pennsylvania Senate races. None of our incumbents are in any real danger. That gives us the +2 that we need to have a filibuster-proof Senate. Top of that, we have in Ohio, we have Tim Ryan is 45-45. Now in a red state, undecideds generally swing to whatever the state's partisan lean is, right? So in a normal year, I would look at that and go, no, he's toast, right? Because it's a Republican state. It's an 8-point Trump state. This year's different, Mark. We're seeing it, and we've seen voter registration numbers, and women have a huge advantage in voter registration since the Dobbs decision. So I think things are gonna be harder to predict this time. It's in play. Val Demings, we just saw 2 polls come out where she is again 45-45 sort of place, in the middle. Florida, again, it's tough. Florida will never be there when we need it to be there, but we don't need it to be there this year, right? Because already we're getting the numbers we need in other states. So if Florida wants to be the cherry on top, that would be the most amazing cherry on top. And North Carolina is the other one where we have a slight advantage in North Carolina. So we have a possibility of either +2, which gets us the bare minimum we need to make Manchin and Sinema irrelevant, to potentially a +5. I mean, it is looking really, really good. Now, even Mitch McConnell today said that it's more likely that Republicans take the House than take the Senate because the quality of candidates matter. He himself just basically said that Herschel Walker, that Oz in Pennsylvania, that they are crappy candidates. It's this underhanded way to say, like, Trump got us here.
Yeah.
All these Trumpian candidates are sinking us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when you have Mitch McConnell kind of like, we're kind of effed. I mean, that says something.
That says something.
Now, what's happening in the House wasn't gerrymandered more heavily than it already was. In fact, the Democrats picked up a little bit, right, of an edge in gerrymandering, in partisan gerrymandering. So if the climate is bad enough that Democrats are looking to make gains in the Senate, I'm not sure that we're looking to lose seats in the House.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, the House is a little different. The candidates are less high profile.
Yeah.
So it's harder to point at a Herschel Walker and go to the entire state of Georgia and nationally, because there's fewer candidates, right? We're looking at 5-6 competitive Senate races.
Right.
There's gonna be about 30-40 competitive House races. So it's a little different. I still think you don't need the candidates are a thing, but as much as Mitch McConnell wants to say it's about the candidates, I'm gonna argue that it's about Dobbs and abortion and Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And that has really nothing to do in the end with the candidates, because Ron Johnson in Wisconsin is doing poorly. He's won twice. He's not a poor candidate in the sense that you can blame him on Donald Trump, like you can with Oz, like you can with Walker, like you can with Bud in North Carolina. Yeah.
And just when we think there aren't many more hits to come, we've been talking since January 6th. We agreed how they might not change many people's minds, but now you got this raid that almost overshadows January 6th.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that, man? Listen, if we, let's just say, we aren't criminals, but if we were in the White House and we were going to take something with us, we would immediately look at things that we would see as valuable.
Right.
Like let's sell some of these paintings. Mm-hmm. Why would we steal nuclear secrets? People only you and I wouldn't know who to call. Like, who do you know, or who do we know that we can say we have nuclear secrets? Where you can do it? Only a professional spy can do anything with nuclear secrets. You and I wouldn't know who to call and sell those to.
My theory, I mean, it could be that. Obviously, with Trump, you never know. My theory is still much simpler. That Trump likes to walk around. You know how he shows up at random weddings at Mar-a-Lago?
Wedding buster.
And he's probably walking around looking, I got the nuclear codes. Want to see the nuclear codes?
Right.
Because you had Kid Rock do an interview in early 2020 where he's a big Trump guy. And he's saying, I was at Mar-a-Lago and Trump was showing me secret documents from North Korea and asking me what I thought. And I was like, should I even be looking at this stuff?
Right.
And of course, Trump didn't care what Kid Rock thought about North Korea. He was showing up. He was the big man. Like, I got to make a decision about North Korea. So here, check out what I got to look at. So that's my operating theory. I mean, it could be Trump. I wouldn't put anything past Trump, particularly since, and it wouldn't even be the Russians. People think the Russians, the Saudis have designs on nuclear weapons because they want to offset Iran,
and they got the money to pay for them.
And we know Jared is tight with Saudi Arabia, and there was even a bit of a scandal early on in his administration because they were trying to pass on nuclear secrets to Saudi without going through the proper channels. Right? They thought they could just like raid the cabinetry at the Pentagon and just hand this stuff over.
Right.
So there's all of this could be real. I think he's just bragging.
You might be right.
I mean, the presidential seal and all
he's dumb.
that.
He's dumb enough to do that and not get paid for it. You're right. Right. That's a good point. He's dumb enough to do that and then go to prison for something stupid as that without even getting any money. So you're probably. But I guess what I'm asking is, does even that news?
Yeah.
Is that gonna? Because I mean, we're not an electoral college here, but is there a percentage that'll be like, it's just too much. It's the bridge too far.
So there might be. And if we're in a 50-50 place in the House, right, even a 0.5% is going to make the difference, right? Then the other factor that I think might be more salient is that, remember, we always, every show we talk about suburban, white, college-educated women, right? That's the one swing vote in the country. Actually, we've seen a little bit of a swing with college-educated suburban white men. Very slight, nowhere near, but any movement in polling like that is shocking because it's so rare. I don't think the issue by itself would change things, but I think abortion has got them already like, this is where are we going with this? And then Trump is a criminal. And I think it just sort of reinforces the decision of educated white suburbanites to go like, you know what, this isn't really what we signed up for. We just wanted lower taxes and no black people in our neighborhood. And now this is getting like, now you're affecting my rights.
Right.
It'll be a little facetious on the racism, but I think it's there too.
Of course, yeah.
And so that's what I think. I think these things add up. And when people are having doubts, you want to throw like, that's why I want Democrats to, they did the gay marriage vote. I want them to do a contraception vote. I want all these things on the record. So these voters, each one individually isn't going to change anybody's mind. Yeah. But in the additive, it's just going to keep introducing. And I got to say, when Republicans voted against the contraception one, that's the one they voted on before the break. I was hanging out at one of the conservative subreddits, and those like Trump Republican supporters, they were confused. Mm-hmm. Like they would say things like, I know everything that harpy Nancy Pelosi does is corrupt and evil, but I looked at this bill and I don't see what the problem is. Why are we voting against this? And it was like hundreds of people. Now Reddit, it's like younger conservatives, right? But you start planting these seeds like little by little, and you got to let them grow. Nobody switches overnight. We've seen studies where changing your partisanship is akin to like chopping off a limb. Yeah. Like it's that painful to admit that you've been wrong for years. Yeah. And that's why they say the party's left me. Like nobody wants to say like I changed my mind. Right. No, it's like they changed. I never changed. I never changed. That's why that BS. And so you want to slowly like give them doubts. And abortion was the first one. Contraception, throw gay marriage in. I saw that Oz was attacking John Fetterman for smoking pot. So
in 2022,
Civics tracks attitudes towards pot, and in Pennsylvania, 70% of Pennsylvanians support legalized cannabis, and only about 20% oppose it. inches. You know, that was a cell phone, right? We didn't even do anything with that one. Right. But Democrats could be more vocal in their support for legalization of marijuana and removing it from the schedules and freeing all the people incarcerated over it. Like, there's things we can do, right? Of course.
Right.
Again, just doubts. And there's not a lot of people, right? But if you're talking 3-4%, great. Now you have the fact that Republicans are predominantly older, and you have a certain annual attrition, right? So inequality, basically they die.
Yeah.
And we are younger, and we got to get our young people to vote. So that's its challenge. But these are all factors that are coming in play, and they are literally becoming extinct, slowly, too slowly. That's why they're trying to do as much damage to our democracy as they are, because they realize that demographically, they've hit a dead end. So all these things are important. So that's why the January 6th Commission, the raids, they're not single-handedly going to give us new votes. What they're going to do is they're going to lock down some of that suburban educated vote that right now tends to vote Republican.
And more receipts on the way. Because, do you release the video from Mar-a-Lago? Do you release all the affidavits? And it's only going to get worse.
And politically, Republicans don't want to be talking about Donald Trump getting raided by the FBI.
Right.
They don't want to talk about abortion. They don't want to talk about contraception or gay marriage. They want to talk. I mean, their whole campaign was built around inflation and suddenly in gas prices and all that's suddenly starting to come down, right?
Yeah.
So now they're confused, and so defund the FBI. And what was it? FBI, IRS agents, other good. Like they're just throwing stuff up against the wall to see that will hit. But that's because their entire premise is the economy is something. It's not looking that great for them.
Yeah,
and
they planted the evidence he declassified.
Yeah. So Donald Trump being in the news and for the reasons he's in the news, again, it means that when a Republican shows up and there's press, they're going to ask him about Donald Trump, not about Joe Biden, not about Democrats. And Joe Biden, one of the things that's freaking fascinating, and I really want to dig into it over time, the bifurcation of Joe Biden's approval numbers with those of the Democrats running. I mean, Joe Biden's in a different, he's been like relegated to we're just going to put Joe Biden in this drawer. We don't like him.
Yeah.
But John Fetterman, we like that guy. Or Mandela Barnes, we like him in Wisconsin, or Val Demings, we like her. I mean, it is amazing how Joe Biden is not a drag. He's become utterly irrelevant to the campaign. His numbers are going up, but it almost doesn't matter. And in fact, it might literally not matter. So it's absolutely fascinating to see how the public and all that effort to demonize Joe Biden has just been for nothing, and Republicans are left with absolutely nothing of a campaign. So let them have to defend Joe Biden's criming and talk about defunding the FBI. And then you're gonna ask Ron Johnson, do you really want to defund the FBI? Because that's what your crazier part of your caucus said. And then he gets all awkward, and maybe he'll say yes, and then we got material, or he says no, and suddenly he's on the wrong side of his base. I mean, they are in a lose situation right now.
Good.
They deserve it too.
Civics with a Q, of course. Daily Coast, congratulations, 20th anniversary. So before we go though, the state of Coast, these 20 years, are you pleased with what you have been able to do, even getting this started? And what are your plans for the next 20 years?
Yeah,
for all of us. Y'all remember he was gonna be run for chair of the party.
that was woo. Glad
I was gonna be his sergeant at arms. That was gonna be my title.
I want to drag you down with me.
All go down in flames
we
together.
We get sucked into the abyss. It's interesting. This is something that we're really starting to explore. Is Daily Coast was built in a world where Facebook didn't exist, where Twitter didn't exist, where Reddit didn't exist, where the web was pretty much the entire internet. Now the web is shrinking as a part of the internet, right? It's the app economy that's really, even Reddit is pushing everybody to their app. My kids, right, 19 and 15, the only reason they would go to the web is to check Google to send them back to whatever they were looking for like a school project. But they're not going to actually willingly spend time. They spend all their time on YouTube and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok, of course. And so how do we remain relevant?
You gonna do an app?
In the world? We have to. I'm going to have a choice. But this is the stuff where okay, there has to be a second act. Like, what are we doing for the next 20 years? Because we can keep being for the sake of being, and we coast along. but that's never been my style. And when you're fighting for American democracy and for a more progressive country and world, you want to remain sort of relevant in that media ecosystem. That's so I don't know. Actually, we don't have the answer. We're starting to really dig into. We're gonna have to have an app. We're gonna have to really rethink how to shape our content. What may work pre-Twitter, may not work after post-Twitter.
Right.
Those are the things that we really need to see through, and it requires. So we're doing a whole metrics world, deep dive into our content, seeing what still works, what doesn't work, what needs to evolve, what needs to get jettisoned. I mean, it's a major project, but I took the last couple of years, I stepped back from running Daily Coast on a day-to-day basis, so I could deal with some tough family issues I was going through, and my girl was going through. But now it's like things are well. My daughter's doing well. My son graduated; he's doing well. So now I'm back in that mind space. So okay, I'm ready to dig in and do some hard work and see how we're gonna keep things nice and fresh and relevant.
Looking forward to the next 20 years. dailycoast.com.
What a treat.
Hey, what is right?
What a treat.
Become a part of that community if you've not already. Go to netrootsnation.com. You can see some of the panels and trainings and discussions streamed here live as they happen. And also civicswithaq.com. I can really see an app for that like tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
Just no brainer.
It's designed for it. Yeah.
And I see people going on that to check in if people want to know what's important right now to voters. I mean, I can just see people just jumping up. Yeah. So
with beautiful maps. I mean, we got publicly, we have voter attitudes towards cannabis for all 50 states.
Yeah.
So somebody says something like, the voters of Texas don't approve of marijuana. Let's go look. Oh yeah, no, it's 68% of them.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's the kind of stuff that.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So appreciate you, my buddy. My good friend, Marcos Melissa's. We're live here in Pittsburgh at Netroots Nation, y'all.